Hello and welcome to Miss Piggybank's Money Box collection. Today, thank you for joining me first of all, whether you're a first timer or whether you've been twice or many times. It's great to have you with us today and I'm delighted to have your company. So today's title on the video that I've just made is Things I Thought Originated in London. And the first one that I want to talk about is the Savoy Hotel. Well, I can't go wrong with this, I don't think, because it's the Savoy Hotel in London. And I don't think there was one anywhere at all until this one arrived or got built in London. Have a look at it while I talk about it, and then I'll show you a bit more detail. The Savoy Hotel opened in London on the 6th of August 1889. It's renowned for its cuisine and its flamboyant and beautiful decor. I'll show you some of that in a minute. It's still welcoming guests from all over the world. And if you wish to book a room for two in the most basic of their rooms, which are not very basic, obviously, it would cost you £950 for the two of you for one night. And you would stay in this Grade 2 listed building. You'll be glad to hear that tea and coffee facilities are provided in your room. And I would think a ensuite bathroom. But I'm pretty certain on that, but I've never been. So there's the front of it, so you can see it in more detail. You can see the cars and the taxis on the bottom of the road, some nice smart people walking. You've got the top of the foyer with the word Savoy on it and the flags of many countries flying above with a statue on top. Goes right the way up. It's very good how they got the depth into that. I think that's really clever. The sides are both the same. They have windows and they have these beautiful arches with bay windows above it. There's arches there and there's also arches on the other side. When it was first opened, it would have been horses and carriages that would drive in there, and also the supply wagons of the food and drink they needed to keep going. But all that's changed, and I presume the cars and vehicles park there, but I don't know. Ground floor next, dining room, absolutely stunning. A downstairs ballroom with a fabulous chandelier on the entrance. That was very popular in World War II. When the sirens went off, people would move from the restaurant or the music room downstairs and carry on dancing the night away while the bombs went off above. And that is basically a music room. It's got a group. And so this isn't obviously an old rendering of the building, because that looks as if it's 1950s, 1960s, but it's still a beautiful site, isn't it? Above there we have the kitchen with the chefs in it. I'm sorry it's difficult to hold it still for you. And over here we have a lounge for sitting, dancing, well, not dancing, sitting, gossiping, drinking and listening to a piano. Above that is one of the fabulous bedrooms. In the middle, I'll try and bring that into focus for you, is the corridor that you'd walk up to get to your room. And there is another gorgeous building. It's absolutely beautiful and I love it. I haven't had it very long. And the actual tin tells us nothing about itself, not when it was made, not what it held, nothing like that, but it is beautiful. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is this. And the first question with this is, what is it? It's a little bit weird looking. It could be, I thought, a ram's horns because they have that lovely curly look on the end. I also thought it could be a lady's bosoms. Could just see that in a beautiful red dress or something, couldn't you? Or it could be a handlebar moustache, and that's what it is. Now, the handlebar moustache, I was sure originated in England and possibly in London. But goes to show what I know, because I'm totally wrong. This moustache became popular in London in the late 1800s. But before that, it was popular in America. Well, just before that, it was popular in America. And it was made popular by the outlaw Jesse James, who wore it in the early sort of 1860s, 1870s. And by the end of the century, it had arrived from America to London. And when it arrived in London, it became very popular and was still around after the Second World War. And it was celebrated as an example of heroism, when the people who were still soldiers, or the soldiers who were no longer in, well, I say soldiers, but any of the armed forces who were no longer in the armed forces, if they still wore their handlebars moustache, it was shown, it was sort of accepted that they were in the war and they'd been very heroic. It's an amazing money box. I don't know anything about it. It doesn't say, it says it was made in the UK, and it doesn't say when, or it doesn't say why, but it is absolutely brilliant. So on that note, I've got to say I've talked too much today, so apologies for that. Thank you for joining me, and do come back anytime. If you haven't been interested in this, there will be others that might catch your attention. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you pop back and see me again. Good evening and bye-bye.